Hey, sweet people. I want to talk with you guys about something that has been on my heart recently. Wow, how are you guys doing? I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you are enjoying yourself right now. It's been raining here in Alabama, and I've kind of enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the, the peacefulness of it. So that's funny for me. I usually get a little bit sad because I don't go outside as much when it's raining, but I've been okay with it. But I want to talk a little bit on something that is really on my heart right now. So I'm going to start by saying, are you someone who's ever wondered if there was more to life, like more than what meets the eyes? Um, yeah. So if you are, then just I'm asking you to listen to what I'm about to talk about from a place of openness. And when we're open, kind of like a child who has no past, it's easier for us to receive something new. And later on, we can decide whether it's something that we really resonate with and that we really want to keep um, in our experience or want to believe. But when we come from a place of just complete innocent openness, then we are able to receive so much more than when we come to a situation with all these preconceived ideas. So that's the only thing that I'm asking is that you listen to what I'm about to say with just a place of openness. Um, when we look for answers from the spirit, we may try to perform certain actions to gain freedom, um, like meditation or there are innumerable amounts of things that we may try to do. We may try to join a certain religion or read a book. And all of these things are wonderful, but I want to ask you, where are your actions leading you? Where are they leading you to? Do you have a certain destination? Do you feel like you are on a path? Or are you just trying to fix everything by performing certain actions? Are you trying to find enlightenment just from the actions rather than from using them to help you navigate to a certain point, not using them as a scapegoat for really connecting with an inner path from within yourself, an inner guidance from within yourself. Um, and something else I wanted to pose a question with you guys about was, is it possible that there is a completely new world right in front of our eyes that we have yet to explore? And that's the big question out of everything that I'm going to talk about. That's the big question. Is it possible that around us right now there's a world, a completely new world that we haven't yet even begun to explore? So just think about that. I always believed this was possible and I longed for it. I was one of those people who was hoping that there was something more to life. I was one of those people who was really, really hoping for that. And looking for it constantly. I mean, I had a quick period in my life where I tried to be normal and just do what everybody else was doing, but that did not last for long. Let's see. Yeah, as a young girl, I was always curious and adventurous. I would climb everything. Like everything. My parents would get a little bit freaked out and they were shocked by my complete lack of fear. So this carried on into my later years because that longing within me led me to see just how far the rabbit hole goes. Yes, let's take it from like a Matrix scene where he says, "Do you want to see how far the rabbit hole goes?" Well, I took the pill to see how far the rabbit hole goes, pretty much. And boy did I. Yeah. It was kind of like being lost in space. I would compare it to that. About it being lost in space in your underpants and just being like, oh, and kind of like falling through galaxies and portals and all this stuff, and you have no idea what's going on. That's pretty much what it was like. A part of me wondered and even wished that I was going through a psychotic break. Now, what I'm talking about is an event, an experience, not an event, an experience that happened in 2011, and I've spoken a little bit about it in some of my videos, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. Because I kind of wanted it to be a psychotic break, because then none of it was real, and if I could just get help, I would be able to go back to where everything was comfortable and everything made sense. Like, everything made sense to me. But time and time again, and you have to think about this, I almost wanted to be insane, okay? But time and time again, there was proof that this wasn't a mental break, but a spiritual experience. And, you know, the line with that is a thin one. I know, you know, it's probably almost interchangeable at some point with it being a spiritual experience or a mental break. I know that, but I'm more aware that this came from a place. I went through this because of the spiritual experience, not just because I was, you know, losing it. And some signs of that were the fact that it was real, was people around me were experiencing and could feel something happening. I mean, they were having real experiences and could feel something happening. And unexplained synchronicities, like off the charts. I was literally seeing things, but again, you know, if you're thinking you might be having a mental break, you don't know if that's real or not. And then also the fact that I could still understand everything people were saying to me. In fact, I was able to understand it even more than before. And when I would be talking to them, I mean, they would be going along with it, and they'd be like, whoa, how do you even know that? Like, what? Like, some things that my parents were talking to me about that I'd never really related to them on or understood them. Like, I just have never seen their perspective, their side of it. But they were talking to me, and I was like, yeah, you mean this, right? And they're like, dude, that's exactly what I mean. Like, and they were surprised because I had never, like, related to that perspective before. So that was very interesting. And it was like waking up the senses, you know, hearing, sight, thought, feeling, all that kind of stuff, to a part of being that we have always been able to sense and catch glimpses of. Yeah, just glimpses, like the tip of the iceberg. But I was getting fully submerged in this new way of really being conscious of reality in a completely new way. And it was literally the most life-changing experience I have ever gone through. Nothing can compare to it, and I've experienced many, many profound and spiritual experiences in my life. Yes, I am only 19, but I've experienced a lot, and I'm talking profound. Like, if I had a video recorder with me, people would not doubt, you know, the existence of some stuff at all. And but this was the most profound spiritual experience that I have literally ever gone through in my entire life. And something else I wanted to say was I came to the point where I accepted that I was not losing it. And when I did, that's when things really started to change, because thinking that you're losing it, you get lazy. You get, you're like, oh, well, I'm just crazy. None of this, you just completely discard everything you're thinking about. So try not to even do that. Like, even if you think that you might be going through something that, is just like your mind and stuff, take it, kind of listen to it to some degree, because it can still show you stuff. Now, I'm not even going to, I'm not telling people they don't need to get help if they need it. Obviously, you should do that for yourself. Obviously. And it's always better to not try and face something on your own. We want to have independence, and that's great, but we also are interdependent beings, and so we work with each other really well, and it's good to have some support system, somebody to rely on. In just a few weeks, and maybe even days, I literally worked through years of baggage and self-destructive habits and behaviors. Um, I worked through issues that I didn't even think was possible for me to heal from. Like, I did not believe that. I honestly did not believe it or conceive it. Like, I didn't think it was possible. But I worked through it. So, the idea that you have to believe something is possible for it to happen, no, that's not necessarily even true. Like, I know from personal experience. You don't even have to believe it's possible, and it can still happen. It does help to believe it's possible. It does help to even be open to the idea that it's possible. You want to be open to it, but freaking miracles can happen, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you believe. And that's my personal opinion. From personal experience, So, and then some really major things was I refound my faith in the universe. And that was a big thing for me, because I love, and I love deeply, but I really had a deep distrust towards the universe as a whole at that point in my life. And this was in 2011, so it wasn't that long ago. I just really did, and I refound that again in a very, very, very intimate and real way. I found me. I found who I really am, beyond my projections of myself, beyond the ego, beyond how other people see me. I found me, and I discovered what was really important to me. For the very first time, I didn't care what other people thought about me. And that, wow, that is for the first time for me, to really not care what others think, and just to be me, to be who I am, to love myself, and just to experience who I am as I am now, without worrying about these outside projections. The thing was, though, I knew that I had to come back. I had to reground myself. Because every thought, every action, I was completely aware of. Like, completely aware of. And it happened even while I was dreaming. Seriously. My body was dreaming, but I was completely awake. And that actually can be fun sometimes, but all the time, no, you're exhausted. I had to take sleeping pills to go to sleep. And I don't want to do that, So, something that I discovered through all of this was a brand new me. The old Elizabeth is someone I cherish, but it was a part of me that willingly made way for a new me to be birthed. And this new me, once regrounded, my mother would tell me that My spirit was that of a child. Um, I didn't feel old anymore. Like, it wasn't naivety, but a lightness of spirit. I was no longer weighed down by my past, which is a big factor in feeling old. And I was more fully present in the moment. And but even when I was regrounded, I experienced the world in a different way. Miracles would happen all the time. Seriously, like last year, 2012, all the time, all the time. New connections coming into my life, like this and that. These synchronicities, these things that I would hear in my mind that were going to happen would happen. I mean, just constant spiritual experiences. The universe just flowed in this amazing way, and I constantly felt connected. I was literally living in a new world. Like light and love was so real for me. That's what led me on this path towards all these people who have this movement towards light and love, because I experienced it. It was a personal experience for me. It wasn't something that I was really into, you know. Before 2011, I felt people who would go on and on about how we were all one. That that bothered me. I didn't like the idea of losing my individual self and all this other stuff that I won't even go into. But um, so I came across this really naturally. I never really looked into that lifestyle, the light and love lifestyle, um, that much because it didn't resonate with me before. I was like, life is a balance. So why should we focus on one particular thing? I still believe that, but let me continue. Um, I had seen how easy it would be for me to slip into my old ways if I were to reground and fall back asleep to some sense. Like I knew I probably would slip back into a lot of the stuff that I had worked myself out of over the last few weeks and months that I was in that state. Um, but I knew in the core of my being, it's what I had to do. My brother always said to me that I could see the light when there wasn't one, and because there was almost no way that I wasn't going to slip back into old patterns, and yet I still went back. That was scary because, you know, when you actually see what these patterns are, you don't want to have to do that anymore. Like, especially on the energetic level, you don't want to feel that way. Like, feeling is very important. Like, it is a strong indicator of what's going on. So if you don't want to slip back into these old patterns that are making you feel miserable all the time, like you see how unuseful that is, and that there's just really no reason to do it. At least that's what I experienced. And I have slipped back into my old ways, like after regrounding. I have slipped into a lot of older things because, when I when I was in that place that I was in, um, I came back, like I said, with this lightness of spirit. And people would tell me all the time, they're like, "You're so full of light. Like, I see love in your eyes," and I still get that sometimes, especially when my energy is really clear. And it was like I was a completely different person because people did not say that to me all the time before. Like I've always been spiritual, but this was new. This was completely new for me. And so, slipping back in my old patterns has been weird for me because it's like a new me slipping back into this old me, and it's like I just don't resonate with this. And so I'm even more miserable than I used to be. Like it's just so it kind of helps me to want to keep going back to what I learned. I am still different. I am still changed, even when I do slip back into my old ways, and it doesn't last as long either. Um, because and also now I know that heaven exists. You know, like it's not some distant place in the sky, but it's here. It's us. We are heaven. Like when we change, the world changes. Um, so instead of changing my actions, I look once again for that light within me. And I realize that I really have been changed. I am no longer the girl that I was. Uh, the more I tap into that brand new me, the more I hold a sacred space for others to do the same. Mom told me today that she is seeing a movement for peace and love that is so deeply a part of her. She was around the movement with like the hippies and the first beginning of talking about peace and love. And that was something that really, really deeply resonated with her, but she kind of fell out of it for a while. So I think of my brave mother and father whom had that same longing in their hearts for something more. But they have lived many years of their lives in this old paradigm and have only recently as well been finding the new one. But even through all those years, through the tremendous heartbreaks and setbacks, they continued to believe it was possible. Possible that there was something more. I admired him more than words can describe, because they too were holding a sacred space for all of us. So all of those people who started off believing that and then continuing to hope for that, even when there was no sign that it was any different, that it was ever going to change, they've been holding that sacred space for us. So be thankful. Be thankful for that. And then I said, it matters not what paradigm you're in or how awakened you are. It's those efforts, that beautiful heart of yours, that bravery just to simply exist that literally blows my mind. No matter how innumerable the odds, we are able to beat them. I mean, seriously. Oh, gosh. When I really stop and watch, there's something so, so empowering about life, nature, existence. The message of life really is an empowering one. It's like something so freaking beautiful, Even our darkest nights that we go to, they seem to emphasize this. Even these terrible things that happen to us, it always seems to just speak again and again about how, no matter how many odds are put up against us or what anything tries to tell us we are, we always return to that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful heart that we are. We always return to that amazing creation that we are. No matter how far we fall, it doesn't matter what we go through. We are who we are. And I just think that is the most amazing message ever. And now I know I'm not the only one. There is a new paradigm being birthed, a miraculous paradigm, one full of miracles. It's a paradigm where it's possible to clear years and years of pain in just a few days, like what happened with me. A world of new energies, synchronicity, flow. We no longer think that life has to be a fight. Now we know it's a choice. We can choose to live in heaven and stop living in our own hell. Because you know what? Yeah, we can fall really, really freaking far and still know that we're beautiful. We can do that. And we have lived the fight. We have fought the good fight, We have done these wars and everything, and it's led us to the same conclusion that we are beautiful creatures. That love is what truly matters, Like, it doesn't matter how you take my words right now. We all have our different perceptions and stuff. But one thing is true. I'm going to say it again, that one question that I said earlier. The one question that I posed for you guys. Is it possible that there's a completely new world right in front of our eyes that we have yet to explore? And this world is a miraculous one. The world where things that seem not possible can happen instantly. I love you guys. And I'm going to keep connecting with that part of myself that really matters to me. And holding that space for all of you brothers and sisters. Holding the vision. And I'm going to start talking about it more. I'm going to start sharing more. Anyways, that's about it. So I will talk with you guys later. And have an awesome day. I'll show you my rock, actually. Do you see? Okay. Wait, let's see if you can see it. Do you see that? It kind of looks like glasses. I call him, he's my humor stone, so that I never get way too serious about myself or life. And just remember to laugh. Very important one. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.